Okay, joining us on the line today is one of our favorites from around here. It's Michele Tafoya, someone we like to call our own, someone who you see every Sunday night on the Sunday Night Football broadcast on NBC, calling one of the best games of the week every single week. Must be rough. How's it going, Michele?
Hey, I'm one of your favorites from around here, not just one of your favorites, period.
Yeah, you got me on semantics here, Michele. You are one of our favorites. And you are from around here.
There we go. I love it.
That's what we meant. All right. I see you got a little pep in your step already this morning. So
I do.
Yeah.
It's early, but I've got some caffeine in me.
Okay, good. Have you had any time to digest the season that you guys just had on Sunday Night Football? And here's why I ask. Because when you graciously agreed to join us for this conversation, I thought, I'm going to look back at all the games that you guys had this season and see if I can remember the good ones. And I started making a list, and my list got pretty long. You guys had a lot of good games this season, starting with the season opener and continuing through the schedule. You had us a few times. You had a Patriots-Chiefs game, which was 43-40. You guys had some really good games this year. I bet that was fun.
We did, and it was fun. And, it's funny because some seasons seemed like there were a bunch of blowouts, but it did not feel like that this season. The games went by really fast. There was I don't think I ever had a sense this season that we had a long, drawn-out game. You mentioned that Patriots-Chiefs game. The Chiefs always play the Patriots tough in New England, and so that was really fun. Patrick Mahomes was probably the standout story for me of the season. I mean, he's just a remarkable player and showed throughout the season that he's not a one-trick pony. The kid can do pretty much everything, and that offense is so exciting. And I think this kid is going to be the face of the NFL for years to come. It's just fun. He's got a really fun style of play, a fun personality, and I think that makes him so enjoyable, and the Chiefs are really strong attraction going forward.
I think you're right. So I have an idea now for next year. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Well, we have the Chiefs on the schedule. So why don't you get with Godelli and Al Michaels and the powers that be at the NFL, and let's get that game on Sunday night. How about that?
Let me tell you something. I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
Yes.
I really would, because that is a marquee game right there. I mean, you know what? The Vikings are always going to be a fun draw, particularly when they play at home in that beautiful building. That stuff makes for good TV. Yeah. Some of the, you turn on a Dallas game, you're really curious about the stadium. Same with Minnesota now. It's a great stadium. It's beautiful on television. And when you got Patrick Mahomes there and the Vikings looking for a rebound season, listen, I wouldn't argue. I'd be thrilled for as many Vikings home games as possible.
I know you would be. And you got to do a Super Bowl in that building too, by the way, right? I mean, so
yes,
that had to be a pretty cool experience. Yeah.
It was very, very cool. It was a prideful experience. It made me proud to show off that stadium.
Yeah. There was one Sunday Night Football moment that was a negative for us this season, Michele, and I want to, you're doing the games, so I don't know if you think about this in the moment, but we had a Monday night game in Seattle late in the season. And so obviously we're in Seattle on Sunday, and we're watching games on Sunday. Well, that was the Sunday night game where the Rams were at the Bears. And that was a cold game, and so I'm sure you remember it. And we're all sitting in Seattle cheering as hard as we can for the Rams to beat the Bears because we're trying to chase them down for the division title. It didn't happen, but that was another one of your guys' pretty good games this season.
It was, and it showed off a couple of, star young quarterbacks, and I think the Bears are another really good story, an up-and-coming team with a really good coaching staff and an interesting quarterback. He's not perfect, but he's good, and he has a lot of skills that I think coaches covet, his ability to run for the big guy that he is. Their running back situation is tremendous. Their defense is tremendous, and so that rivalry is just going to, look, the Bears, the Packers, the Vikings. Only Detroit seems to continue to be the weak link in the NFC North. So it's going to be fun to watch next year. I hope that the Vikings take that next step that I know they're capable of taking. We saw Kirk Cousins in his first season. It wasn't always pretty, but he certainly is an accurate thrower. When he's on, he is on. And I hope that offense just finds its rhythm and finds its identity.
Yeah, I hope so too, and I think you're right. I think they're capable of doing it. We'll see what it looks like in 2019. It's going to have a little different vibe to it with Kevin Stefanski and Gary Kubiak sort of guiding the offense. I know that Coach Kubiak is someone you've probably dealt with before. So for Vikings fans who aren't familiar with him, Michele, what are your recollections or your impressions of Gary Kubiak over the years, the times that you've seen him and worked with him?
Oh, he's a terrific offensive coach. Obviously, my most memorable interaction with him was the night that he collapsed on the field when they were playing the Colts in Houston, and we had to cover that, and it was very, very scary. And I'm really hopeful that he remains healthy. He's done well. It's a stressful job. That when you're a coach, it's very stressful, and we don't know that stress was the cause behind that thing, but it just certainly makes you wonder. But he has rebounded beautifully, and look, he's a great offensive mind. He's not in the head coaching position here. I think he's going to be a great contributor, and I get excited when there's change. Particularly when it looks like it's going to be positive change, and it gives you a sense that it's like I learned in business school. When a company changes CEOs, that's the time to buy stock because you're going to see probably an uptick in productivity.
Interesting. Folks can find some of your work, Michele, also on Twitter at Michele_Tafoya, which I was checking out, and I see one of the questions I was going to ask you was, the off season for you, Michele. What's it like? Because it's not go home and sit on your hands until the season starts. So you're busy here during the NFL's off season, and I see that one of the things you have coming up is an interview with Duke men's basketball head coach, Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski. Tell us about that.
Well, it was fun. I'm a contributor to Artful Living magazine, which is published here in Minneapolis. It is a beautiful publication. If people haven't seen it, they should pick one up. It's quarterly. The one we did in autumn featured Aaron Rodgers. I went out to Green Bay over the summer, and I sat with Aaron for about an hour and interviewed him. And it's basically just a transcript of the interview. We don't edit a lot. We want everyone to see the full thing.
Okay.
So that was the first one. This one will come out just before the Final Four here in Minneapolis. We expect Mike Krzyzewski to be there, so we flew out to Durham, and I sat with him for a good long time in his office, which was just an incredible experience. And talk to him, and we got just some great stories, great anecdotes, good insight into who he is as a coach and what his program is like. And I walked out of there thinking, I wish my son could be a Division I basketball player because I'd send him to Duke in a heartbeat. But it's going to be a very good article. So people should look for Artful Living the spring edition coming out.
Awesome. And folks will do that. You're very accomplished. You've had a great career, Michele, and it's still going. And it's fun to get your perspective on the Vikings because we like to call you one of our own. So we love hearing what you have to say. Keep up the good work on Sunday Night Football too, okay?
I consider that a compliment. I am a Minnesotan for sure. Thanks for having me.
You bet. See you later, Michele.
Bye.